To give you an idea of how long this film has been stuck in developmental hell, when the project was first announced, Mark Wahlberg was one of the first choices to play Nate. Now, he's been cast as Sully.
Hey, kid. A little young for a bartender, aren't you?
A little old for prom, aren't you?
Leaves are falling all around. Everything in here. Why the map?
This is the path that Ferdinand Magellan took to sail around the world.
You know your history.
It's the biggest treasure that's never been found.
5 billion, easy.
How's it going, guys? Welcome back to my channel and time for another episode of Luke's Reviews. On today's video, we're going to be talking about yet another live-action video game adaptation, but this is based on one of my favorite video game series of all time, Uncharted. Nathan Drake is a young explorer and treasure hunter who winds up crossing paths with fellow adventurer Victor Sullivan. The two join forces to find a treasure lost hundreds of years ago on a failed Spanish expedition. However, they aren't the only party looking for the treasure, and Antonio Banderas and his goons will stop at nothing to get their hands on it. So I went into Uncharted cautiously optimistic, but still incredibly worried. I'm a huge fan of the video game series, and I've always thought that they'd lend themselves to the big screen format given how cinematic they feel when playing. But it looks like the video game curse will have to be broken another day, because this movie just isn't good. I think the biggest problem for me is that, again, as someone who loves these games, that besides the final 20 minutes, this film didn't feel like Uncharted besides the title and the character names itself. Instead, the film plays out like a generic adventure story, and Ruben Fleischer's flat and largely unimpressive direction doesn't add any sort of flavor to the film whatsoever. Casting was a big worry of mine going into the film, especially in its two leads. Now, Tom Holland is, in my opinion, way too young to be playing the character of Nathan Drake, yet they do kind of manage to salvage it because this is largely an origin story for Nate and Sully. And if I'm being completely honest, I thought that Tom Holland was actually pretty good in this. Another one of my concerns was that he was going to treat the character too much like a Peter Parker Spider-Man type, but no, after a while I settled into the fact that he felt like a young Nathan Drake. Mark Wahlberg as Sully, on the other hand, might just be one of the most baffling casting decisions ever. It doesn't work. It really doesn't work. I never bought for a single second that he was Sully. He just came off as a snarky, selfish, middle-aged man who had zero chemistry with Nate. In terms of the action, which, surprise, surprise, is one of the tentpoles of the video games, it's okay, but it's not quite at the level it should be, because when you play the game, each level is getting crazier and more intense. For the film itself, many of the action set pieces were just by the numbers. No energy, no flair, nothing to really make them stand out. I mean, in the video game, there are set pieces where you're climbing up a crumbling church tower, ancient ruins rising up around you, there's a massive train crash in one of the games, but in the film, you've got a nightclub brawl and a scrap at an auction house. It's only as we near the final act that it eventually does start to click into place, and we get a couple of set pieces that do feel like they were ripped straight out of the video game. There's the plane sequence, which seems to be the main push of its entire marketing campaign, and it is pretty good. It does actually live up to the hype that they have been building. And then the pirate ship sequence goes hell for leather. And in those moments, I felt like this is what the entire movie should have been in the first place. Everything, for the most part, did seem to work. I'm pretty gutted that Uncharted didn't pan out the way I'd hoped because of the potential it had given the source material. Tom Holland does well in the role of Nate and continues his stretch as the biggest movie star on the planet, but Mark Wahlberg's Sully doesn't work in the slightest. Neither does the script, as it plays out like a lazy, unimaginative, and unengaging studio-manufactured adventure story. The finale does show what could have been, but at that point, it was too little, too late. So I'm going to give Uncharted a 5 out of 10. Anyway guys, those were my thoughts on Uncharted. Let me know, have you had the chance to see the film yet? What did you think? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And my question to you, I would like to know, is there a video game out there that if it were made into a movie, you think would have no choice but to break this movie video game curse? But that is all we have time for today, so thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Hello, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have, make sure to click that like button, and if you aren't already, click that subscribe button too.